We believe that Islam will dominate the world. It's a little bit funny to say, but Islam will dominate the world.
That is a portion of the trailer for the upcoming film Europe's Last Stand, America's Final Warning, that warns of Muslim radicalization of Europe. Welcome back to America's Forum with Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth, and joining us here on the anchor desk, political consultant to the Italian government, Guido Lombardi. Guido is here with us. Meantime, from Newsmax LA, we're pleased to welcome in Larry Elder as well. And let's talk some about this film, Europe's Last Stand. The warning, Guido, should be what? What should Americans get from your film?
Well, basically, we have been working for about 2 years to go into all the parts of Europe that some people say they don't exist, like the no-go zones. And actually, we filmed things that are shocking to American people. Europe is much, much further down the road to being becoming a Muslim country, a Muslim set of countries. The Islamization of Europe is way, way in progress, and a lot of people that just deny the reality of things. But this video, this documentary has been done in a very professional way, documenting facts and having actual interviews with imams, like some of the ones that you just saw, who actually tell us right to your face what they intend to do and what they've been doing.
Guido, a lot of experts have talked about these so-called no-go zones, and they've been criticized, and they've been told that they don't exist. Can you elaborate a little bit about these so-called no-go zones?
Absolutely. Well, there has been some mistakes because when they were asking, I think some Fox News interview about the no-go zones, they were referring to the United Kingdom, to Britain. Now, in England, they're not officially recognized. What they are recognized, that in the movie, in the documentary, actually you see actual government documents and actually signs outside of cities in France. France recognized over 500 what they call sensitive zones. These sensitive zones, they actually are places where the police and the fire departments are not going to respond. If you go to these zones and you call 911, nobody's going to come and help you.
Just to be clear, though, your film focuses on not the fact that Islam is growing, it's radical Islam, correct?
It's radical Islam. We have over 50 million official Muslims in Europe. 50 million out of 350 million.
But I think it's important to differentiate between radical Muslims and, because Islam, let's be fair. I mean, Islam is the second largest religion in the world. So it shouldn't really surprise some people that there are more Muslims going there. I just want to distinguish the difference.
Yes, and it is important to actually differentiate between radical Islam and Islam. In Europe, and I don't know how it's going to develop here in America, but in Europe, the 50 million Muslims that are living there, they are actually, even if the majority, 90%, they might consider themselves, moderate, but they live in an enclave which is closed, where actually they are not allowed to do anything else but follow Sharia law. So even though they may consider themselves, moderate, but the leaders of those enclaves, they are actually the radical imams that have been coming over here.
So Guido, about a minute left in this segment. If you were advising America on this, in terms of future immigration laws, should Americans bar anyone who endorses or wants to institute Sharia in the United States?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we see that, it's not, Sharia is not just something, a religious law. This is a very big misunderstanding. Sharia, in England, for example, there are Sharia tribunals where the British government pays both policemen and actually judges to judge Sharia cases. So Sharia, it's a law that actually will envelop the whole of the country and overcome within the Constitution.
So a cautionary note, and obviously one that demands more conversation, and that's what we're going to do. Guido Lombardi remains with us, as does Larry Elder. We'll continue the conversation here on America's Forum.
And while France calls them urban sensitive zones, they are better known throughout the rest of the world as no-go zones, meaning if you're not a Muslim, stay out.
More scenes from Europe's Last Stand, America's Final Warning. Let's continue our conversation with former advisor to the Italian government, Guido Lombardi. Guido, the movie says it's Europe's last stand. Is it too late for the continent to regain control of immigration and what's happening?
Personally, I'm afraid so. The riots didn't start yet, but just a few days ago there was a group of so-called radicals that actually brought the black flag in St. Peter's Square, and the police could not do anything. They were just going around with a flag, so they just got away with it. And just recently, I think yesterday or today, they actually, some representative of ISIS, they actually declared that right now their #1 target is Italy and the Vatican, because the Pope made some declaration about too many Christians being killed. Like, you know, if one is too many.
And
there's an image that we're showing you right now. Can you explain what this is? This is Photoshop, so we're going to make sure that we explain. But there's a black flag that we've all become way too familiar with. What exactly are we seeing?
Well, what we're seeing is that, you know, all of the radicals, they're actually talking about, you know, we are going to take over. They already forced in some parts of Europe to some local government to actually take out the crucifix from the school, or take out the crucifix from some other places. In some, you know, in a lot of corners, in, you know, especially the little towns, you see the little, you know, votive candles with the image of Mary or something like that. Half of them, they have been destroyed. They've just been, you know, thrown down, you know, or defaced or whatever. This is happening every single day. Nobody talks about it. The media, especially over there, they just, nah, well, you know, we don't want to be racist. Wait a second. They are. They are very racist in our, you know, toward us and toward, you know, Christianity and Jews. Nowadays, if you're Jewish, you go with a little Hanukkah in Paris, they spit on you. So, you know, we cannot be accused of racism. We're just saying the facts.
Back to the film, and in particular, an interview with Paul Golding, the political party leader for Britain First. Let's listen to what he had to say and then get reaction.
They are going to impose Islam whether we like it or not. Nothing is going to stop them.
So what needs to happen to prevent that from happening here in the United States?
First of all, the government and the political leaders, they need to realize that this is a very serious and factual danger. It's a present danger. It's not something that we can debate on it. It's something that there should be some action in terms of evaluating and taking action. The #1 action has to be legislative. The laws are already there. A lot of people before me, they said it much better. The laws are there. The problem is we don't enforce it. Just like in Europe, the laws are there, but if they're not being enforced, the police is afraid, the magistrate, the judges, when there's something that's a little bit too tricky, they just, you know, raise their hands up. And the politicians are afraid because, like you've seen, you know, in Belgium, in Holland, they are actually being targeted, and some of them, they have been killed.
Well, you are putting forth a picture, and this documentary presents what it is doing, trying to warn America. Now, our friend Larry Elder has been listening with interest out at Newsmax LA, and this conversation is so important. We're going to get Larry's perspective on this when we continue. Guido Lombardi, a former advisor to the Italian government under former Prime Minister Berlusconi, we thank you for your time. Raises a lot of questions and invites a lot of comments. And again, you heard from Guido Lombardi, it comes down to enforcing the law. That's a theme that's run through this program in our first hour, and it'll continue when we come. With Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth, America's Forum continues. Our guest on the anchor desk, former advisor to the Berlusconi Italian government, Guido Lombardi, and from Newsmax LA, Larry Elder. Larry, I know you've been listening with interest. You've got a couple of questions for Guido.
Yeah, Guido, you used to work for Berlusconi. I recall shortly after 9/11, the Prime Minister said something to the effect of, we must recognize the superiority of Western values and Western civilization. We have respect for women, respect for cultures, that sort of thing. He was hammered. He was called racist. And then he took the statement back pretty much, Guido. Why did he do that?
Well, I don't know if he really took that statement back, but the problem is that sometimes you come up with a statement that it's, if it's analyzed correctly, it stand up for what it is, the core values of our civilization, which is Judeo-Christian values and traditions and principles. Now, we created the Western society a very, very great civilization based on those values. And all of a sudden, anybody that criticizes them, is free to do so. At the same time, the ones that do not like those values, that want to subvert our civilization. Way back then there was the Soviet Union, and now we have radical Islam. We are always under attack. And unfortunately, in the case of Berlusconi, the way that probably some of the words he used were misunderstood, and so he had to make some correction. I don't think he really, recanted it.
As a recovering politician and a former member of the United States Congress, whatever the situation, at times what you say falls victim to political correctness. We may be seeing that right now with Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal.
Absolutely.
Calling for American immigration laws to change so that Sharia does not supersede. I guess the broader thing is, Guido, that it seems immigration law, whether in Europe or now here in the United States, there's a notion that somehow the law should bend to the mores and the culture of those coming in rather than vice versa. Is that the root of the problem?
That's the root of the problems, and that's why in Europe we have 50 million illegal immigrants. 50 millions. And if all of the sudden, it's a little bit far to swim from China, but like my good friend Donald Trump would like to point out, if they were free to swim over here, we will have a few million Chinese within days, and they probably wouldn't even feel the difference, if they're missing 100 million.
Guido, I want to ask you, we never got to this in the beginning, what inspired you to do this film, and did you uncover anything that you weren't expecting?
Well, first of all, let me clarify. The movie, the producer, his name is Martin Moyers, ChristianAction.org, and they are the producers. I just help as far as the, some of the logistic and location and some of the interviews in Italy and in France. I think it's a very, very, it's something that everybody should, understand what's really going on right now, because it's not only in the news about Iraq and Iran and Israel and whatever. I mean, it hits us home. In Europe, it hits every day. Here is going to come.
And
Guido, may I ask you?
Sure.
The filmmakers, are they concerned about their safety, and what's been the reaction from the Muslim community, especially the clerical Muslim community?
I would say that, we're always a little bit concerned about our, myself, of course, you start to talk about these things and, you never know when you're going to find a crazy nut that all of a sudden decide to shoot you, So, of course, the producer, they are concerned. They've been doing other videos like this one in the past. And especially in Europe, is not really, you don't find politicians that are willing to come, on TV and, and speak freely about these kind of things. So, but you have to have the guts to stand up for what you believe. And that's how you show who you really are.
Guido Lombardi, we appreciate your insights. It is worth noting that on the film, a lot of the imams in Europe very free to share their goals, and that's why it's such a cautionary tale for all of us. Straight ahead, Hour 2 of America's Forum, so keep it right here on Newsmax TV.